down.
I'll come!
New enchantments are coming, and you probably already heard this or have been to preview and saw them with your own eyeballs. And just like everything else in life, there are good things, bad things, and ugly things. Roll it. Welcome back, window lickers. And yep, the new module / campaign was announced, and if you don't know already, it's called Menzoberranzan, and it's an extension of the previous North Dark Reaches, which is an extension of the Underdark as a whole. Before we get started on the main topic, which will be about the new enchantments that are going to be added in Module 25, I want to thank everybody in my Discord for helping us reach 1,000 members. And I also want to thank all of you who have subscribed to my channel. And of course, thank my channel members who support me with real money as well. Oh, and make sure to subscribe if you haven't already, and definitely hit the like button and share my videos. It actually helps me out more than you realize. So now let's begin our breakdown of these new enchantments. There's more to cover, like the new insignia bonuses, which means possibly more insignia dust and more item level. And there's also new gear and some other topics which I will cover in my future videos. But we have time for that. So in Module 25, Cryptic is adding some more enchantments to the mix, which will include offensive, defensive, utility, and combat enchantments. The combat enchantments deserve their own video, so I will exclude them from this one. That being said, they are adding 3 new enchantments in total: Sapphire, the Ruby, and the Aquamarine. At Mythic, the Sapphire will give you a total of 1,600 item level, which is 100 more than the previous enchantments gave you. It will also grant you 1,200 combat advantage and 1,200 critical strike as offensive stats. In defensive stats, you will get 1,200 awareness and 1,200 deflect severity, and in utility, you will get 1,200 forte and 1,200 control resistance. Aquamarine at Mythic will give you 1,600 item level, 1,200 accuracy, and 1,200 crit severity for your offensive stats. The defensive stats will be 1,200 critical avoidance and 1,200 deflection, and the utility will be 1,200 control bonus and 1,200 outgoing healing. And lastly, the Ruby enchantment will also have 1,600 item level at Mythic, with 1,200 power and 1,200 accuracy as your offensive stats. The defensive stats will be 1,200 defense and 1,200 deflection, with utility having 1,200 forte and 1,200 incoming healing. Those are basically the stats for all 3 of the new enchantments. The main good thing here, if you can consider it a good thing, is that they add more variety to our enchantment choices. More diversity in the enchants isn't a bad thing. It supports more diversity in builds, more individuality, more class or role specific options, and as these also have the option to trade them in for account-wide unlocks, that can help you build a collection of enchants that you can swap in and out to suit the content that you're playing at the time. Another good is if you take into account that we overcap pretty easily these days and get into the red way more often, and on some builds, especially the augment builds, shedding stats can be a little bit more difficult. And yes, augment companions are still reliable. Don't listen to those window lickers who say you shouldn't use them. Sure, capping stats with strikers is easier now, but that doesn't mean augments suck just because strikers are a little bit better. Plus, a lot of these best strikers in the new module have suffered huge nerfs. Now back to enchantments. Another good thing for some would be the extra item level. More item level can help with min-maxing characters, and increasing item level also increases damage in unscaled content, but it isn't always useful elsewhere. Now, how much of a good thing the extra 100 item level and 1,500 rating points on each is debatable, and that includes the effects of combat rating. But one thing is for certain, min-maxers will want the new enchantments, period. So I guess the good things are more diversity, more opportunity for individuality, and more ways to balance stats. Now for the bad. One of the bad things is item level creep. Why make these new enchantments higher item level? All that does is add to the item level creep. These would be just as desirable at the same item level because of the versatility. Maybe reduce the combat rating a little bit to accommodate the extra specified stats, or not. It would still be 1,125 points per stat if they didn't. Players want more horizontal progression and more ways to be unique. They don't want to be constantly having to change their builds just to keep up. And we have some breaking news. During the production of this video, we discovered that a same item level version, but with the extra specified stats and no reduction of CR, is an option under consideration. The table shows the values side by side. First gen is the ones we have now. Second gen A is what is on preview, and second gen B is the alternative that has been published on the forum thread. Another bad thing is if you decide to get the newer higher item level enchantments because you simply want to and love to min-max in general, then that will cost you a pretty penny. And for most, spending more Astro Diamonds is not fun. So the cost is definitely not a good thing. It's certainly not cheap, unless you already have stacks and stacks of coal motes laying around. And now for the ugly. One thing that's definitely ugly is the perception that the previous mythic enchantments are now without value, and the time and resources people have invested in them has been wasted. People will also be feeling disappointment about the mythic enchantments that they converted into account-wide reclaims. But these still have value. The wheel turns and things change. It turns some more and more changes come. Old things gain new relevance and so the cycle continues. The difference isn't huge, and the single stat enchants we already have aren't going to suddenly completely stop being useful. They are pretty close, actually. Another ugly thing is that some people will promote these new enchantments as must-have now items, and even to brand new players, which just feeds the perception that item level is the only important aspect, instead of choosing the right bit of gear to get to your goals and being adaptable as you progress through the game. That also promotes the idea that the only way to develop your character is through spending rather than playing, which I don't agree with at all. My conclusion is that while at first glance you might feel like you need to scrap all of your previous enchantments for the new ones, just for the added benefit of some extra item level, but you really don't need to get these enchantments at all. Gaining 900 more item level or using dual stat enchantments won't make a huge enough difference to be must-haves. The only players who will feel like they are must-haves are the min-maxers who want to get the highest item level on everything to optimize their builds as much as possible. Nobody is forcing you to get the new enchantments, and if you do decide to get them, you can do it slowly at your own pace and switch the current ones out over time with no rush or any negative impact on your gaming. And some people even have an unrealistic anticipation of the choice packs from the exchange vendor being retroactively updated to include these new enchantments. But seriously, why would they? Those packs were to help you transition from the old system to the new one, which they did. But this is not an enchantment rework. It is simply some more enchantments that you may or may not want to use. Choice is yours. My fears are that the polarization in the population will grow. They will view anything not from the latest mod as worthless and advocate for only using the highest item level items regardless of what stage of the game you are at, and perpetuating the myth that if you aren't trying to get the maximum item level in less than 6 weeks, that you're wasting your time. And at the other end of the spectrum, there are also people who will take their time, apply their efforts strategically towards their builds, and who don't want what they already have to become a reason other players exclude them from content. And these new enchantments and item level creep sure have got a lot of panties in a bunch. And I know the player base got ignored a lot in the past, and many players feel powerless because of that. But we do have options here, people. If you want your voice to be heard, as much as I love all your comments, sweet or salty, if they're going to make a difference to what goes from preview into live, then they also need to be made on the official forum thread. A link to there is posted in my Discord. So join my Discord, you can get the thread. And yeah, that's about it. I don't think I could add any more to it. And that was my opinion on the good, the bad, and the ugly in regards to these 3 new enchantments. I hope it gave you a little bit of insight, and I hope I did show you that you don't really need to rush and get these enchantments unless you're a min-maxer. It will not affect you in any way. You'll be just fine with the current enchantments and just sacrifice 900 item level. No big deal. Anyways, way more videos regarding topics of this new and upcoming module are on the way, but don't expect them on a daily basis. I take my time with it. I think you guys know that. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Do you agree or have some other insight that you would like to share with me? Will you be getting the new enchantments or saying no thanks and just moving on? I would love to hear it. But for now, I got things to do and people to see. Galactic here. Peace out. Stay safe.
Neverwinter used to be good, now it's trash. Mini me and Rob together, we Hulk smash.
Mini me and Rob together, we Hulk smash. Neverwinter used to be good, now it's trash.